Hey everyone, welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be looking at the Sharkoon DarkGlider mouse and also the FireGlider mousepad. Alright, and this right here is the mouse. Now, I have been using this mouse for a good week now, and I've noticed some good things and some bad things. Overall, it's actually very good. I was quite surprised for the fact that this is quite a cheap mouse for what you get. And yeah, let's have a quick look at the mouse itself. So here you can see that you have a rather rubberized finish, like a soft touch finish. And after using this for a week, I gotta say that it's still quite clean, because when you use it when you're gaming and you're concentrated and your hand might get a little sweaty, even certainly now in the summer when it's all a little bit hotter. Yeah, there are some stains after that on the mouse. And actually, you don't really see them. I only see some here, where your fingers are all the time. And actually, that's quite normal. So yeah, the mouse looks good, like after a good week being in use. Other than that, can't really say much more about the look of the mouse, other than it actually looks good. It's a rather large mouse and wide. Even though it doesn't really look wide, certainly not from this angle, but it's quite wide indeed. And yeah, it's comfortable though, so that's all good. Alright, so if we have a look at the bottom of the mouse, you can see that there is actually quite a lot to see here. So we have 5 feet, and these are actually ceramic feet, so that is actually an interesting thing. They used ceramic feet and never had this before, and this slides very well on practically any surface. I've used this on the mouse pad that they included, the FireGlider, which I'll have a look at in a second. I've tested it with that. I've tested it with this wooden surface, my desk, another mouse pad from Razer, the exact mat, and yeah, it's all very nice on different surfaces. That's actually very good right here. And the cool thing is that they include inside this box, which they also include, yeah, so yeah, they include a lot. They include extra feet, so you could take these out. Let me just quickly do that. There we go. So they include, and let's hope the focus works. Yeah, kinda. So they include more of these feet, and yeah, they include those, and also, and I think these are Teflon feet. I'm not really sure though, and I haven't seen any specifications about that. But yeah, they include 10 more of these feet, so that's a total of 2 times 5, so twice filling this, and that's actually quite interesting. So yeah, right there you get, let's call it 3 extra pair of feet. What you also see here is all the weights. So they include a couple of weights. They have weights of 3.79 grams and weights of 3.19 grams. Now these weights actually don't make, I don't think they're really necessary, honestly. You can put them in the mouse right here, so you open this, take that out, and then you can fill this with 4 of the weights. But honestly, I don't think it's really necessary, or personally for me, at least not. Maybe 1 weight of 3.19 could make a little difference there, but the mouse itself is actually quite heavy already, so personally for me, I think that isn't really necessary to use, but of course some people might find it necessary. It really depends from person to person. Now, what they also include, except for this metal box, by the way, is a nice bag. So if you go to a LAN party, for example, you want to put this mouse in this bag. Why do you want to do that? Because, well, let me explain. This mouse has that rubber finish, and if you put it in a bag, together with a lot of cables and all that, they might actually scratch that surface, and it can get damaged quite easily, and then the entire look is gonna go away. The rubberized finish will start peeling off, and you don't really want that. So the fact that they included this bag is actually very smart and practical. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the cable then. So they have given us a cable that is braided. That's very nice to see, and it also has this little Velcro on it, so you can constantly tie it back down like this. Now, one thing that I noticed just before I started the review, look at the cable here. These are things that, you know, I think show because this is still a budget mouse, and they might have, you know, this is maybe what makes it cheaper. There are really things, if you see here, you actually see the cables inside the plastic wrapping, or what you could call it, the isolation, yeah, that's it. You can actually see the cables inside there. That is not good. You're not supposed to see that. Even the braiding isn't finished like it should be, so what is that? That is not really good, not nice to see. So yeah, that is one of the negative things I saw here. In the end, it's not really going to make that much difference, but the cable can get damaged a lot easier. And if the cable gets damaged there, the mouse is nothing. You lose everything, you know, from this mouse. So then you really need to just buy a new one, or fix this cable if you really can. Of course, it's not always that easy. But other than that little issue there, the USB connection here is gold plated, and that's also quite a nice feature, of course. Now, I did indeed just say something about the FireGlider mousepad, which you can actually see this right here. So this is another mousepad from Sharkoon, and actually this mousepad is very good. I was very convinced by this mousepad. It has some kind of it also got a rubberized fabric. It's very flexible also, or a little flexible at least, and you can push it in a little, but really a lot of mice work really great on this. So we have the Sharkoon mouse, for example. Let's take this mouse here, also glides very well. If I take another mouse, another one from CCReviews, with this one I didn't have very good slides, but it slides nicely and smooth on this surface. So I really like that about this mouse pad. It really helps making every mouse very smooth. The slides here were crap, so to say. Didn't really like that. So here the slides were okay, but also not as good. And yeah, the mouse pad really makes it a lot better. But with the ceramic feet, really this is brilliant, and you can start really slow. You don't get, like, you know, bricked by the mouse pad, so you don't start like that in a shock. You can start very slowly, so that's good for first-person shooters and certainly those kind of games. So yeah, the FireGlider is a very good mouse pad, and together with this mouse, which they gave me with it, yeah, certainly a good combination. Now, a couple of things I have to mention. There are different buttons on this mouse, and a couple of LEDs and little screen. Now let's start with the LEDs. There's an LED right here in the back, and this one can be turned into different colors using the included software. And then you have this LCD, or little display here, and that has a red backlight. Can't change that, unfortunately. That's another thing. Negative point there. You can't change the backlight color of that, but this LCD indicates the DPI setting of the mouse, and it's very clear when you have it, you know, in this angle, which is the angle you mostly see your mouse. The viewing angle of the LCD is perfect then, so that's very nice, very nicely done by Sharkoon. And okay, so that's that. Then you have a forward and backward browsing button. Right and left mouse button, no, this is not profile button, I'm sorry, but that's what I first thought. This is just another random button which they include, and you can give it any option. So that's the game button, they call it, but I use it for profile up. If it, you know, I'm gonna explain this a little bit further. Even with the software, it's gonna get a lot clearer there. But you can't really cycle through the profile, so you have profile up. At a certain point you're going to reach profile 5, but you can't really go down, so you need a second button, but you don't have a second button, so that's another little issue I'm going to cover in the software. part. Okay, then you have a sorry, DPI up and down, very nice buttons, scroll wheel, scroll button, and you have a left and right button with the scrolling wheel, which I like, but I had the issue that often when I pressed it down to open a new tab in Firefox, for example, I started pressing the left scrolling wheel button as well. It easily happens, so yeah, I just note that right now. Alright, before we get to the software, we're going to have a look at the bottom really quick, because there is of course a laser sensor there, and that is the Avago 9500 V2 Pro laser sensor. Also note that next to that, this mouse has 256 kilobytes of internal memory for user profiles, and I think we can now get to the software. Alright, so this is the software interface. I wasn't actually very convinced by the software. The mouse itself convinces me a lot, but the software right here, it's not really what I want to see. So they include this on a CD with the mouse, just saying. And yeah, that's actually what you can see. It has been counting my left clicks and right clicks for the past week, I think. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. But next to that, you actually have all the buttons. These are 12 buttons that you can actually program. And you have, yeah, you can actually change every single button. So I had the 10th button here, the gain key, and I could actually change that to a lot of different things. And I used to change that, as I said, to profile up, but at a certain point when you reach profile up, when you actually do that, and you go to the 5th profile, you can't go down again using any buttons on your mouse. So you need to have another button on the mouse to go profile down. And I thought about the scroll wheel left and right, but you know, the fact that that it's actually scrolling wheel and that you scroll with that, and yeah, that was another thing I didn't really like there. So in the end I just used one profile with this mouse. Now if you change something, let's go to DPI settings for example. You can turn off the different DPI steps, or just one. That's quite interesting. Okay, so that's very good, very nice, but you can't really change anything in between these. So you have 800, 1600, 2400, 3200, 5000 and 6000. This mouse, by the way, has a DPI of 6000, which is very, very nice. But you can't go in between those. So that's also something you should know. But if you go to color settings or advanced settings and you start changing something, so here you can change the colors of the mouse, as you can see. So let's change it to this blue right here. Let's press apply. It's always gonna do that. It's always gonna give that little loading bar, and then it's gonna change. So this is, by the way, the blue color, but the backlight here is still red. So yeah, and as you can see, it's currently at 800 DPI. I can turn that up to 2400, which I currently was using, and let's say the intensity of the light option, the little LED, sorry, should be high. So I'm gonna put my mouse cursor on apply and see what happens to the DPI LCD. It changed to 800. So every time you change a setting, the DPI is going to change to 800. Why? Well, no idea. Is it useful? Not really. So yeah, another negative thing. Then here you have all the different things like the mouse speed that you can change, the double click speed, the horizontal scroll speed, no vertical scroll speed though, so that's really weird. Then you have the sensitivity, and you can also change the Y and X axis. Then you have the polling rate and the sound setting. And the sound setting is actually when your PC starts, there's little startup sound from the program. I turned that off because I found it really annoying. So yeah. And then you have favorites. I think this has to do with the profiles, but I really didn't go deeper into the profiles because I really don't need these in this mouse. This mouse needs one profile. Next to that, it's gonna be just, you know, irritation by the fact that you use the profiles if you use them. So that's why I don't use them. And the mouse itself is actually very good, but if I start using the profiles, I'm gonna start getting irritated and it's gonna look a lot worse. So this mouse is great, but the software isn't. Alright, so that was the review. Now, actually, to conclude this review, what do I have to say about this mouse? Well, very simple. I like the mouse a lot. The mouse itself is brilliant, except for the fact that the little cable there at the end was a little bit messed up, and at the LEDs, the LED doesn't go together with the LCD when you change the color of the LED. So I wanted to have the backlight of the LCD also changing instead of just staying in red. Other than that, the fact that it's 6000 dpi is very useful. The Avago laser is very good. You have the weight system, also very nice. The ceramic feet, very good idea, very nicely done. The little bag that they include, a little other metal box that they include, very nice to see, and for a very small price. Now, then there is a software that I do not like. The software is not well made. I've seen better software, and I just personally would not use it. Perhaps I would only use it perhaps to change the LED color, perhaps turn off a couple of DPI settings, you know, a few steps perhaps, and perhaps to change the function of the game button, or maybe some of the other buttons, but not more than that. I would not start using the profiles because it really gets annoying then. At least that's what I personally find with this mouse. But anyway, I'm gonna conclude here and say that this is an awesome mouse. And yeah, I hope you guys had all the info you wanted. If you have a question, you can still leave a comment here, or go to the website and leave your question there. Remember that I have a full list of pros and cons on the website as well, and that is www.CCReviews.eu. And well, thanks for watching, and yeah, see you guys in the next video. And by the way, also thanks to Sharkoon for sponsoring us.